Hey, how y'all doing? I hope that this microphone enables y'all to hear me a little better than what the other videos were doing. Someone's telling me different things about him on the volume. But today's video, whatever day it is I upload this video, is about, once again, one of the most integral pieces, if not the most integral piece of your car after the electrical is taken care of. We do know the head unit and then the amplification of the signal. This video is about where to set your amplifier based on what is rated. Most amplifiers today, especially the reputable ones. Now I have a problem. I don't speak the King English. Most of the amplifiers today come with birth sheets. Even this little Kicker 250 here that I have here as a prop came with a birth sheet. It's rated 250 by 1. The birth sheet was 353. You get a whole 103 more watts. With that being said, my Fosgate had a birth sheet of it's 1500 watts at 1 and 2 ohms. My 1 ohm rating is 1958, something like that, and my 2 ohm reading is 1740, I believe, something like that. It's only a difference of like 2 and some watts between the two. They don't have the listing for dynamic. And what the birth sheet is when they set it to a static load, which is a 40 hertz tone, at 1 ohm or 2 ohm, and they use probably the SMD or something like that, or whatever device they have to tell you the power that it actually puts out at whatever voltage, 12 volts, 13, 14. Mine puts out power at 13 something. It said on the 13.6 or something like that. I don't know. So that's the birth sheet. Now my amplifier hits way more power than what they tested at. So I'm right over 1,000, possibly, pretty much for sure, at 1 ohm, and very close to it at 2 ohm. Now, with that being said, did I set my amp at what the birth sheet said, 1900 watts at 1 ohm? No. I actually set my amp, since I don't have access to a oscilloscope, I set my amp by the rated power of the model number. So it was a Fosgate 1500 BDCP. So I set my amp to deliver 1500 some watts, 1598 or 1600, somewhere around there. I actually set, last time I checked it to make sure the bass hadn't turned the knob and vibration moves everything, I was at 39.8. 39.8 is like 1590, 1580 some odd watts. Of course I have way more because my birth sheet told me that. But remember I told you, impedance rise fights everything. I'm not going to stay at that power anyway. I'm not going to stay at that rated power because I'm not going to stay at the ohm load. Your ohm load fluctuates as a subwoofer plays. That's called impedance rise. So by me setting it at what the amplifier is rated at, I give what I consider, and those of us who do this, I give myself headroom. Headroom. I'm giving my amplifier the ability to meet the demands of the music, those dynamic beats, and not go into clipping. And that's why those of you who have heard my system in person say, man, that bass is clean, rich, deep, and loud. Can't believe it. And then I tell them it's 1500 watts before impedance rise. So what I suggest to you, my tribe, because I got a tribe now. I got a tribe. You know, you guys have helped me become a brand. Yeah, MBE is a brand. I know my worth now. I do know my worth now. Thank you. As we go on this journey together, thank you. My tribe is growing and people are taking notice. It's growing and people are taking notice. Thank you. Those of you who listen to me and feel that I have some measure of knowledge about car audio, I want to tell you this. Set your amplifier at what the amplifier is rated at. This amplifier here is rated at 250 It's 250 by 1. I would take the square root of 250, and that'll be your AC voltage number, and use a multimeter to set your amplifier at 250. Forget what the birth sheet say. Do what I did with my Falls Gate 1500 BDCP. The birth sheet say I'm 19 and 17. I still set it at the model number to give myself headroom to meet the dynamic peaks of the music. So that when the music plays and I'm turning the volume and you get a burst, I'm still going to stay within clean power. I'm still going to stay within clean power. If you was to set your amplifier, taking the square root of what the birth sheet says, and then as you play the music, the dynamic peaks are going to take you right into clipping. Straight into clipping. Because with a subwoofer, you can't really hear the clipping until after it's too late. Sometimes you can hear it immediately because that's a hard clip. But a soft clip, you might not necessarily hear it. You might not, you think the bass is hidden, but it's actually not. People can't hear it outside the car if that's what you're looking for. The bass no longer has that impact because the dynamic piece taking you straight into clipping. Straight into where the amplifier is no longer in control. Straight into where the dampening factor is not there. Anyone that has actually heard my system will attest, and maybe they'll tell you in the comments. As I turn my volume now, my bass does not go away. It gets louder and louder and louder. No matter what song I'm playing, the bass does not go. I don't have to back off. I can turn my radio up to full tilt because of where I have the amplifier set at. And I suggest my tribe, my viewers, my subscribers, set the amplifier what the amplifier is rated at if you know it does rated power. And you don't have access to a oscilloscope. If you're using a multimeter, set the amplifier what it's rated to do, not what the birth sheet says. Just knowing in your head, okay, I'm setting the amplifier to give 500 watts because it's a such and such model 500. But the birth sheet says it does 7 something. Good, I got headroom. When the dynamic piece comes, my amplifier is still running cool and still able to meet the demands of the song and keep my subwoofer under control. As you turn your volume knob, your bass just has more impact. That's what you see, and guys will attest. They've actually heard my system say, man, as he turn up, it just gets louder. It don't distort, it don't fade away, it just gets louder. That's my tip for the day. Peace.